Hey, what's up, YouTube? For some reason, you guys really liked my In Defense of Hassan Piker video because literally an hour after it uploaded, it's seeing more traction and attention than anything I've had uploaded on YouTube. So I guess I'm in the algorithm. Let's fucking go. While you're here, why don't you do me a favor? Hit that like, hit that subscribe, come to Twitch. We're live. We're literally doing it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Anyway, welcome to episode 2 of Living with COVID. Today we're going to be talking about the commodization of our hobbies. Damn, that shit is so heavy. We're going to be talking about the fact that the change in how we commodified our hobbies and the new world that we're living in. So in the last episode we covered, this sounds like a podcast. This shit is a video, bro. In the last episode, we covered our relationships with emotions and how we have to reanalyze what we see in the world as it comes to other people, because the way we communicate, the way we show love, all of it got stifled. And as much as we want to return to a new normal, that is almost impossible to do with the current climate of, you know, how shit exists in the world. Now, this is a very US-centric approach to this topic, so please don't ask me about any other countries because I will repeat to you the same things I always repeat. Do I look fucking British? Do I look fucking British, mate? Do I look fucking British? Do I tea and crumpet? Do I look fucking British? No, all right, so I'm sticking to my good God-given right as an American. Speaking of my God-given right as an American, that feels good. Okay, we're not doing that for this segment. We're going to do that for the rest of the show. That's an inside joke. Hello, CTV, if you ever watch this video. Yeah, I thought I wasn't going to pull out the glasses. Anyway, what I want to focus on in episode 2 is the identity of how we make money. And when 2020 hit, like January-ish, I feel like a lot of us were on that track of like, oh, it's going to be the roaring 20s. Oh, a new decade. Like, let's see what's coming up. Like we weren't, you know, and then we had the whole memes about World War III and shit. We were communicating thinking, you know, shit's getting bad, but there's no way there's going to be this over-encompassing, glooming doomer moment that's going to happen. And then the pandemic hit. And for a lot of people, they lost one thing that was super important to them, and that was their hobbies. Everything became an online excursion. It was very hard. It was very, very, very hard for us to be able to communicate how badly we were in need of being able to do the things that were making us happy while we went to our jobs, did our work, etc. non grata. Those simple things, you know? And what ends up becoming the norm, what ends up becoming the flavor of the month for us is knowing that we have to continue to work within this capitalistic design, because even when there's a global pandemic going on outside, nothing matters to us more than the dollar. Now, again, this isn't talking specifics, because obviously the majority of the people in this country are poor. Duh, obviously, come on, like, I gotta pay rent. My kids need books. I need to keep the internet on so they can connect to their schoolwork. So we had to find a new way to make money, and a lot of people realized, well, if everybody's online, I guess I have to try to shift my business to a type of online thing. But not everybody was afforded that a privilege. And that's who we're talking about today. Us, the younger crowd, the we're not in plumbing crowd. For us, what ended up happening is this extremely quick transition to the work from home environment. More importantly, just trying to make any sort of money creating or doing tasks for people on the internet. You know, a lot of people needed more presentations built. People needed video content, photo content, this and that. How can you create this for me? We're trying to up our business, make it snazzy. What was missed along that, though, is that artists really got the short end of the stick, because generally they weren't, you know, raking in bank from the beginning. And a lot of artists had to go on site to be able to sell their art or promote their art. And now that's just not possible. So a lot of artists were thrust into the field of competition, whether they wanted to or not, because this was the time where all of us would come together and say, all right, we need to be able to support this. We got to keep these people afloat. But the bread wasn't there because at the same time, everybody's losing their goddamn jobs. Where am I getting this money from? What am I going to be doing with the unemployment? What am I going to be doing with the stimulus checks? Questions that cause us to question if what we're doing is going to be sustainable, especially since we were built with this necessary need to, as I said already, return to normal. So when returning to normal, we came to this conclusion that what we are going to be dealing with as far as economic status is going to have to be represented through the internet for the time being. Now, that's a lot of words. What does that mean exactly? How do you bring that down a scale? Simple. No matter what I do for my photo business, let's make it personal. No matter what I do for my photography and videography business, at some point I will have to go back outside. So I don't need to stress about building a brand new brand to promote it through the internet. I can take my existing brand and just bring it into a bigger scope of promotion on Instagram, on Facebook, etc. But there's a problem with that. And I could have sworn I just said the problem. There's more people doing that. And when more people, or at least the feeling of more people starts to come within your head, you end up saying to yourself, well, what am I going to do? What am I supposed to say? How am I supposed to show myself as better than everybody when there's no chance to actually be one-on-one with people and show them, hey, I'm a really enjoyable person. Hey, most people are going to find out about the natures of most people when they finally get to meet them. And that will be whenever they feel safest because, coronavirus. As these thoughts begin to jumble within our head, we start to ask ourselves questions like, well, am I really worth what I'm actually pursuing? Because it's temporary, but it's also brand new. And it's also the status of your life right now, because it's the status of everybody else's life right now. When the coronavirus hit, what we forgot most is that art is a form that is sacred and also underrepresented, especially in certain communities. We all know about the argument between poor art and fine art. I don't have to rehash that. But for those that didn't have those network connects, becoming known was harder than ever because literally everyone only had a couple choices to choose from if they wanted to promote their business. The last episode, we talked really deep about each of the layers of emotions that you can go through and what you probably missed when needing to be told, hey, it's okay to not feel okay right now. This time, however, this is a little bit more objectional. We commodified our hobbies because there literally was nothing else to justify us wasting our time building within this capitalistic system while no one was doing anything. Because as I said, the crux of the argument or the problem, the duality of our existence at this point when it comes to art was everyone's doing it, but nobody's doing that one thing that I do. Or you just don't know that they're doing it yet. You have to find community. But these communities are getting flooded by 50-year-olds that have never used Facebook before. How do you compete with somebody with a 30-year track record who just literally never got on the internet? Well, I'm really good at this one thing. I wonder if I could make money off that because I really need the money. And since everybody needs to do it, I got to try really hard. You burned yourself out without even noticing. In this era of our lives, the one main issue that we seem to forget is that the job market became saturated with people who thought this was going to be temporary. You've heard this argument before when it comes to OnlyFans and celebrities joining OnlyFans. It gives a massive spike up to people who want to watch the site and then they just leave it because, they made their money and they can dip, and then they take all those people with them and the odds of them staying are very, very low. But that happened everywhere. So what do we do with that? What's the next, I guess, point, if you want to be so quaint? Well, with that comes a growing anxiety about being a freelance artist, a gig worker. And as we know, the gig economy is massive. What happens if you remove the people who are willing to pay for that? And the only way those people know you exist or that this world exists is through the small little finite connections that they have. And since there's no place to network anymore because you're not going to parties specifically for that, you're joining Facebook groups, seeing somebody spread some right-wing Nazi propaganda, and then you got to dip from there. How do you build a protective shell around you to make sure that you aren't harmed by just the notion that you can no longer control the flow of information between your promotion and the people you promoted with, i.e. networking parties, going out for drinks, and, this random, actor comes by and says, hey, I really like your personality. Do you actually do anything? Hey, I do this. How can you build a shell around yourself to protect your identity when the world is uncontrollable? You can't. But maybe if you were prepped a little bit extra for it, maybe somewhere down the road, it would have turned into something that you could have used to build yourself back up. But since we don't have that ability, we got lost. And the only way to ground yourself is to do something you like. That's purely the truth. If you're having a panic attack and somebody tells you I grounded myself because I felt like I was going to throw up in the car and I was touching the windshield, you have to do something. Well, I'm stuck inside my house. I'm in quarantine. What can I do? I know, I drink water really, really fast. Well, if I made a video about it and it went viral, maybe I could get an ad sponsor off that, and that'll get me 200. Uh-oh. Everything that you like. I wonder if I could make money from this somehow. You are so stressed that even the things that you use to relax could possibly turn into a monetary situation. How do you adjust a population and take their hobbies and make them into commodities and then turn it back around and say, okay, they're hobbies again? How could you possibly pull that off? Is there a way to do so? And if there is, why isn't that the grandest sentiment shared amongst artists? As we just finished talking about in another piece, there's a whole debate right now on the idea of just simply watching somebody else's content, which is the cornerstone of that conversation. In order to create in a world where you can't bounce ideas off of anything but what you see, in a world so polarized, you naturally emulate what you see around you. And the form of that emulation takes hold on the greatest lanes of financial gain. That's why NFTs are a big thing. That's why we were all 8 strong. Every single thing that you have noticed that has gone trending has either been an argument or a money-making idea. Come on, you gotta see this. And when there's no money to be made, everybody's angry, so they need somebody to point their anger at. So what's the third thing that gets popular all of a sudden? Drama, because you can monetize it. More clicks means I don't gotta leave my house as often as I should. And when you think about all of this and you pile it on, you would wonder how deeply depressed some people must be to see their art and know that it has to be put out, not because you feel like you want to put it out, but because it's a necessary thing in order for you to survive. Imagine tying your creativity to survival. Come on. Which leads us to our next point. With the survival instinct intact, you could imagine that posting something and not receiving any attention for it would hurt you more than it normally should, because you made the art and the likes, the comments, the traction of your page could lead to monetary things. And right now, I need money. Tell them, bring me my money. You either create so much that everything is invaluable and you don't think anything's perfect, or you sit there and sit still and say, I just can't create jack shit. Because if I don't make the perfect thing, I'm not getting paid for it. Oh, just go ahead, find your community, be better at it, just promote, just make it and write it. People are lying to you if you say numbers don't matter. You know what bothers me the most? How badly the backlash was on YouTube removing their dislikes, when Instagram did the same thing. They hid the likes. You could just see one name and others. That should have made that place so much more comfortable, but for some reason it didn't. Why? Because the traction was still important. People saw through the Instagram ruse, but they can't figure out that YouTube's dislikes should have been disabled a long time ago. Now, you can disagree with it, but look at the space of YouTube right now. You have to dislike a video knowing that only the creator's going to see that. It's personal for you. It's personal now. I know only the creator's going to see this dislike ratio. If I'm doing it because I want everybody else to see, then it's not going to matter to me. But if I really want to stick it to that creator, I'm going to hit that dislike button, knowing you going to be the only one who sees that I disliked it. But nobody weaponized it like that, right? It's just better to not have dislike bombs, so that way people can parse through their information without being worried about being attacked. Oh, but by the upside, the attacks are now personal. It's not just a pile-on of random people just saying, I'm just going to hit this dislike button because it's funny. No, it's personal now. Now it's personal. I bet you, it's personal now. So the commodification of our hobbies made everything personal, because there was nothing left to protect your ego. Remember what I said earlier about building that shield around you? Well, the shield is made up of the watching, of the attention of what you create out in this world. Now, Marquise, why aren't you talking about McDonald's workers or plumbers or electricians, different fields, right? More objectivity. You do the thing, you do a good job, you get paid. But we forgot about all the people that just exist, trying to go step by step, hoping that they can produce something that people will like and the energy will get to them and they'll actually start buying into it, and maybe they'll throw you $5 for it, or maybe they'll hire you for something. It's all a game of survival. COVID changed our relationship. I hate to bring back Title I, but COVID changed our relationship with the job economy, because now, if I'm willing to risk my time to go out and work based on what you want to pay me for a job that might be creative or just a gig, it's me and you. You know that this money is keeping me alive. Don't ring me down. Don't throw me down the ringer. Don't try to play me for this. Oh, it's personal now. My leads are broken. You knew this was the only opportunity I was going to get. Things like this make people look inward way more than they have to, because that's all that's left. And the scary part about that is that there are so many people that feel this way and can't say anything about it, because, as Hassan said in a previous stream, vulnerability just seems to get taken advantage of in this place. I can't wrap my head around not building a room, a place, a space where people just don't have to worry about that shit and are just free to express themselves. But it seems like the caveats now come into the real life clubs, the real life lunch tables that we used to sit at, and then online we'd be chatty with everybody. Now that shit exists in the world that we exist in. It's so funny we want to talk about a metaverse. We're going to get into that, don't worry. We're going to talk about a metaverse. Like, oh, can we get jobs in the metaverse? Like, question, see? There is no leisure time. There is no leisure time. Because as much as you want to be entertaining, especially when it comes to Twitch streamers and YouTube and content creators that make long or short form, everything's about engagement. Everything matters on everyone else's opinion. And they're lying to you if they tell you it's not. Now, I'm not saying that the world is doomed and you can never create anything for the sake of creating it. Hello, I literally exist. I am the perfect example of, like, I will just make shit because I need to make shit. But even then, there's still that twinge of me, that little worry in the back of my head. Should I put this out? What if it lowers my stock? What if I'm not on point for the stream? What if the energy's not at max? What if I don't have the cadence that makes everybody say, damn, this man is spitting facts, bars? This innate fear that you never asked for has risen out of the pure state of the world. How do you separate everyone else from you when everyone's in the same spot? Oh, you looking to me for solutions like I gave you in the last episode, right? All right, well, let's ponder some solutions. Well, fuck. We not post-pandemic yet, so it's really hard for me to pose a solution to this because we still exist within it. I'm literally talking about it. This is more an examination of the state of what living with COVID feels like. You know, I used to wonder, and I will end this segment on this, I used to wonder to myself, where would I be had the pandemic not landed as far as my wedding business? And it's like, yeah, I had a job booked here. I would have been raking in that money, you know. I would have got my name out there, etc. The plan was set. Find out like a year later that 3 of the couples that booked you, like one of them, either their parents died or one of the 2 of the couple died. Like, you are both at the mercy of fate itself. No matter how hard you try, you just might not pick the hour, time, or you might not pick the hour, minute, second, day, week, or month to post that exact thing, and you have no idea how to manage that. So I guess the one solution I would say is, please keep creating for you. Because at this point, that's all we should have been doing. Like, see, if I was fucking president, I would have just paid people to make shit. Like, I don't know why we didn't just fucking do that. Like, there's a mask shortage. Well, can't we, like, ain't there, like, knitters, or can't we, like, get materials down here and just have each community get a center of people who are paid for it, and we could rotate that? Teach people how to do it. Click, 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 click. 8 hours a day. Boom, they got it. Mask on. We could have separated it. Had like 2. We could have opened up a school building. Had people in classes separated by plexiglass. That would have been 400 workers, probably making like $1,000 to $2,000 a week. They work for 2 weeks. Boom, next group. And we always gonna need masks. We could have been like, there are solutions that are outside of my control, is what I'm saying. And because of that, we all feel vulnerable when trying to present ourselves to the internet because we know that the real motherfuckers is here now. It ain't just my Ventrilo group. It ain't my Discord group. That motherfucker that never signed on to Discord, even though we told him to in 2017, he ain't got no choice but to talk to us here now. What is our world? What is our questions? What is our ability to adapt? Do we feel anymore when it comes towards even discussing the opportunities of economic expansion? Probably not. Probably not. Because this is too real for people. You see me as a Twitch streamer and you're like, damn, bro, you got viewers and like people are giving you subs. What are you complaining about? Like, you also have to remember I'm a human being. This is not a full-time job for me. I don't have a source of income outside of this besides my wedding videography. And I've just explained to you why that's even a shaky proposition. So now the pressure and onus is on me to meet my commitments because it's a survival tactic, which stops me from being able to enjoy it as much as I want to and expand into the universes that I want to, because now it's about the viewer count. Now it's about the subs. Now I gotta chill. Now I gotta do this. If I had started this in 2018, I probably wouldn't be worried about that. Hey, I'm just on to play a couple games, meet a couple people. Hey, my community's growing a little bit. It just stays like here. You know, I'm just here to hang out. I'm not worried about it. Bullshit. Bullshit. Yeah, some people could do that. I can't. Which leads me to the actual final point, now that I fucking remembered. What do you do when those two sides collide? Those nonchalant, I got a job, I got a little extra money on the side, this ain't really worth it, ain't really like worth a struggle to me, versus the other person who's like, if this don't work for me, I'm gonna die. And isn't it funny that that seems to be the dynamic that exists kind of just in America today? What happens when that mentality meets the other one and they're both in the same spot on the same platform? One person's passionate, one person cares, the other person's like, whatever, bro. We need to re-examine the way we think about the job structure, and especially for gig workers and freelance workers as it comes to post-COVID. Because of one thing that we're going to really realize is that human beings have been at the other end of this content creation, this gig economy for a long time. And they're going to be asking for their fair share, their fair due, so the barrier of entry doesn't require them to give up years of their life in the hopes that the algorithm picks them. That is my piece.